Hey everyone, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Claire and I am the owner and creator behind CL Vintage Finds, and this video is going to be a little bit different than any video I've done in the past. It's a video that I wish I had seen something like when I was thinking about getting a booth. And basically the topic today is going to be spilling the tea, the lessons I've learned my first year as a booth vendor in an antique mall. And I really hope that these things will help you. And I hope if you do find value in this video, if you find value in my channel, I hope you will subscribe, ring that bell, and do all the other things that help a channel grow. I'm really trying to grow. Personally, I think this will be the best video I've ever done, not because of the way I'm doing it, but because it's heartfelt. I'm gonna try to not get emotional. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I think a lot of creators do. And I really, as I was writing out my topics today, I didn't want it to be negative, but maybe there's more negatives than there are positives, and I wasn't really prepared for that. I kind of thought it was 50-50. And so with that being said, a little bit about me. Let me just give you this a little bit. I started refinishing furniture in 2019. I just started for myself, and then started selling some pieces on Marketplace and got more and more into it. And I never knew, I always was creative. I think I had pieces of art and art shows throughout my entire elementary school and middle school. I sold my first piece of art in middle school, and I stopped doing that in my adult life, and I didn't realize how much creating really feeds my soul. So I do really like the thing, the way I feel and the way I can change my mood just by sitting down and creating. So that really helps. But what I had realized by last year is that it was unsustainable for me. I'm not getting any younger, and I had been thrifting, etc., going to all kinds of sales. And when I planned on opening my booth, I really wanted it to have some of my furniture there, but I wanted it to be, more flipping and not having to create every piece. But for me, that, even though I'm at an antique mall, that stuff just hasn't sold as well as my handmade items. So I've dug myself deeper into a hole as opposed to climbing out. And oh man, especially last holiday season, because of some other factors, I'm burnt out. I'm really burnt out, you guys. And I'm hoping I can help you so you don't get burnt out. So with that being said, I'm gonna just start with item number 1. Again, this is all my experience. I'm in upstate New York. I'm in the capital region. My booth is up in the Adirondacks. So it's about a 40-minute drive every week, and 40 minutes there and 40 minutes home. And so, and I'll be honest with you, I combed the area and looked at places, and this is still true, and probably more true today than it even was a year ago. I go to other places, I film for you so you see them, and other places, I don't go on weekends, I go during the week, and they're dead. And the mall that I'm in, is always pretty busy, almost always pretty busy with some rare exception. Despite that, even with that, I didn't make any money last year. If you count, I didn't even count in my time. I never get paid for my time for doing these things. It never seems to pan out that my time gets paid for. If I didn't have other sources of income, I would not be able to do this. Maybe in other malls, the situation would be different, but in this mall, I lost money, and I don't see that improving much this year. Although I've had some good months, I'm not saying that there's not months that I don't make money. I've always made my rent. I've always probably more than doubled my rent, but sometimes it's just not enough. So that's one. Chances are you're not going to make a lot of money doing this. The way that you could maybe counteract that is having multiple booths, but then that's more work. And at this point, I just don't know if maybe it wouldn't, maybe it's like having two dogs. Sometimes having two dogs is easier than one. So maybe that's true. I don't know. I haven't talked with people. Well, that's not true. But I haven't had anybody say, I mean, their other income could be from a spouse or significant other. So everybody that I know that does this has other income, period, that they probably live on, and this isn't going to do it. So that's that. Number two, it takes way more time. Probably since I started this channel, it's even more time intensive because I'm always out a lot of times trying to come up with places to film for this channel, which I gotta tell you, doesn't take as much time, but driving there and blah, blah, blah. So, and I go to garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores, secondhand stores, let's see what my other notes are. Oh, it takes time to clean everything. Trust me, I go into a lot of antique malls and you can just tell people buy it from wherever and put it in their booth. I don't do that. I clean everything. That takes time. It takes money because you're buying cleaning products, etc. All those things add up. So, and lastly, and more importantly, everything I upcycle, I don't do things quickly. I don't blow out items. I do all the steps. I don't skip steps. I probably do way more steps than most people do. In fact, I'm positive of that. And you just don't get that time back, and you don't get paid for it. You just don't get paid. It's way less than minimum wage. You're better off getting a minimum wage job. Okay, so I'm probably missing a lot of the things I wanted to say. Okay, side note, myself and a friend who's a longtime booth owner, we're planning a video where we're going to talk about some booth etiquette. Some of these items touch on that, but I'm not going to go into it. But the one thing that I wish people had warned me about, because I am so the opposite of this, is that if there are other upcyclers in your mall, they will see the items you're upcycling and reproduce it, make a similar item and then undercut your pricing. I wasn't prepared for that. I especially wasn't prepared for it from people that reached out and tried to befriend you and then, did that. And I know they know it's wrong because every time I pointed it out in videos, they've stopped doing it. So they pick back up again. Here's the difference between them and me. What I used to do in the beginning is I would walk the mall and I knew that there were other upcyclers. And if I saw that they, a lot of us watch the same videos on YouTube to draw inspiration. But if I saw that they were doing something that I had planned on my list of planned projects, I didn't do it. Or if I'd already had created the things, but just hadn't posted or hadn't brought them into the mall yet, I didn't bring them into the mall. I didn't post them. And don't think for a second, I gave them lots of benefits of the doubt, but don't think they would like my videos or like my posts of the things that I did, and then the next week they'd have the same or similar items in their booth. And as you know, I always disclose my pricing, so it was easy for them to undercut pricing because I am thrusting myself out into the public by doing these videos. And it was wrong, it was hurtful, and I am the opposite of what they are, and I refuse to allow what they did change me. So I'm gonna stop that at that. Let's see what the next item is. I think it's similar and maybe something else that I wanted to touch on. Oh, I'm gonna just say this. Not only, one of the things, as you guys may remember if you watch my channel, last year I started featuring a booth each week. and in my mall, and I'd planned on making it through the mall. I originally wanted to do those live, but there's just not the bandwidth up there to go live. So I started doing that, and then vendors up there did it too, which I'm happy they did it too. In fact, some of them even featured my booth. But we all did it on the same day. I was doing it on Fridays, then 2 other vendors started doing it on a Friday. You know, you don't want everything to hit on a Friday. It doesn't get spread out and it's not helpful. So, but here's the thing that really perturbed me is that when I stopped, they both stopped. So now it's not happening at all. And I know if I start back up again, they'll just start back up again. And again, don't think that they don't know, because they both liked my video when I said I'm stopping, because I know I'm getting angry. Because they both liked it. And I said I'm going to let them do it and carry it on. And then neither one of them has ever posted another video featuring other booths in the mall. So pissed me off, as you can tell. Next up, one of those same people, I've been told, literally spends an exorbitant amounts of time in my booth, because other vendors have told me they do this. Basically, this person, I don't think like takes my ideas and upcycles and doesn't, but instead she finds items that I'm just flipping, new items, some of the new items that I have, and then puts them in her booth for less money. The one item, I don't know how she does it or where she sources them, because she has them in her booth for less than what I'm paying for them. So, you know, I don't get it. But again, be prepared for that. Had I been prepared for it, it probably would have been a little bit easier to stomach, and I just wasn't prepared for people doing that. Okay. I hope they do watch this, and I hope that they know I'm calling them out too, by the way. Oh, so you can't count on management or the owner of the mall to support you in these items, because the people that are doing these things to me are all buddy with the owner. So people like that, I'm learning there's going to be a pattern about these types of people. They all ingratiate themselves with the owner and kiss her butt, and so I'm never going to win. And I don't even want to bother the owner with these things, and I never have. So I don't blame the owner. I've never said anything to her. I don't know if it gets back to her, but it's not her fault. I'm going to say that. Some of those things. Okay. Well, let's see. But I hear that from other vendors too, and other malls, that you just can't count on the owners or management to support you, and because they play favorites, and that apparently happens everywhere. So that was number 5. I do want to say this. I've met some great people there, great vendors that have gone out of their way to help me, to give me, you know, to support me in any way they can, to help give me good pointers for how to set things up in the booth, etc., etc. So there's some great people, but for as many great people as I've found, there are even more vendors that I would say are conniving, unscrupulous, and all they care about is making a quick buck. And they don't care about you. It's clear they don't care about you. They will never help you. They come from a place of scarcity, not abundance. And I've learned long ago, you've got to come in any business. You have to come from a place of abundance, not scarcity. Don't think they're stealing this from me, they're doing that from me. As far as buyers, you got to think there's enough for everybody. And that's what I've continued to do in my booth. And I've stopped walking the mall to see what they did. I don't care anymore if we both happen to watch the same video and we do the same item. I just don't care anymore. I'm not going to go out of my way to not put something in my booth because they have it in their booth. I don't even know. I don't follow them. I stopped following them. I've blocked them from showing up in my feed, so I can't see what they're doing, so I have no clue. So it may be happening, it may not be happening. I just don't know. You got to do what you can to protect yourself. Oh, even though, again, I'm really lucky. I'm in a mall where the mall doesn't take a percentage, and they it's just booth rent, and they do advertising, but you still have to do your own advertising. You still have to constantly be self-promoting. That's why I do these videos, and I have a YouTube channel. I promote every single day. Up until a couple of weeks ago, I promoted the mall every single day. I tagged them. I hashtagged them, but I stopped doing that because and here's another thing, with me doing all that, the clerks have told me, I've heard it myself, people have come up to me, customers have come up to me and told me, like, oh, are you Claire? I watch your videos, etc. So I know that I'm bringing people into the mall, but trust me, nobody's really doing that for me. I mean, at this point in time, again, my YouTube channel is still small. I'm up to, I think, about 450 subscribers. On Facebook, I've got 2,600, so more than the mall, and I think more than anybody else in that, any other vendor, I think. I don't know that for sure. And so when I push out content to support the mall, it goes out to more people. That's just the way that it works. Nobody's ever been appreciative of that. Nobody's thanked me for it, and so I stopped. We'll see. Maybe they'll notice, and maybe then they'll be just slightly appreciative for it. That's all. I don't need that. It just would be nice, and I'm not gonna, you'll notice I don't give out brands of paint that I use anymore or anything else, because I'm not gonna advertise for other people for free. I just refuse to do it. My mother taught me that as a kid. She hated it when people wore like Nike t-shirts or whatever. She was like, why would you advertise for that brand for free? So my mother was wrong about a lot of things, but she was also right about a lot of things. So do your own promotion. You can't count on anyone else to help promote you. Okay, be very careful who you listen to, and who you can trust. In the very beginning, so way back a year ago, I was told by multiple people my prices were way too high. And then for the first time after I'd already moved in, I was told the point of our mall is we want to be a picking mall so that vendors in other malls can come buy from us and sell for double, triple, quadruple the amount in their malls. No one ever told me that when I moved in. Had they, I probably would not have gotten a booth there. But funny thing that's happened over this last year, my prices have stayed pretty consistent, but I've watched most of the other vendors in the mall have raised their prices considerably. So don't listen. Thank God one of my friends there told me immediately, don't pay attention to that. They don't know what you're paying for these items. They don't know how much work you're doing to clean them. Stay strong. Oh, and on that note, don't put stuff in and then 2 weeks later drop the price. Leave it in there. Give it some time. I rarely have I held sales in my booth. Thank God, Babette that works in the mall, she gave me so much good information. She was a longtime antique store owner up in that area, and she's the one that has given me a lot of great advice. And she was the one that told me, don't ever have sales. People will just learn that you're going to have sales and they'll wait until you have one and won't buy. So I thought that was solid advice, and I took it, and I think it, and I can tell you, everybody that I know that does run sales in their booth tells me it doesn't really help. They don't sell more stuff when they put it 20% off or whatever. Okay. This is going to be, we're at 19 minutes, and this is going to be my last item for this video. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the most recent thing that happened, and this is going to be a little bit long, but I'll try to keep it short. I had a longtime customer, one of my first customers, who started buying from me, I think back in 2019, and she always made me uncomfortable in a lot of ways because she just laid it on thick, and I'm uncomfortable when people do that, tell you how much they cherish you and blah, blah, blah. She doesn't know me. She buys stuff from me. Yes, and I appreciate that. And I gave her a lot of killer deals, a lot of killer deals. So that's how I paid her back from being a good customer. And if you're one of my other good customers, you know I do that. So I watched her over this last year. Once I got the booth, I watched her ingratiate herself with other vendors in the mall. I didn't say anything, but I watched it and realized, I never believed it to be genuine, which is why I think it made me so uncomfortable. But when I saw her doing it to other people, I realized just how fake it was. And then I watched her find a way to glom onto the owner of the mall and ingratiate herself with the owner and then do the same things. And then multiple times over this past year, she had asked me to hold things for her at the mall, and I explained to her that the mall doesn't do that without payment in full. She always wanted special privileges. She always told me that other places do it for her, and I'm like, it's the policy, it's not mine. And by this point, she was already friends with the owner. Don't take it up with me. You're now buddies with her. You guys hang out together. Tell her about it. Please don't tell me. There's nothing I can do. It's a mall policy. It's not mine. So recently, she ended up getting a booth in the mall. I'm really happy for her. I swear from the bottom of my heart, I'm happy for her that she did that and that she got a booth. Great. Here's where I'm not happy. A lot of my handmade items, she has in her booth. I don't care that she's selling them. That doesn't bother me at all. I totally get it. I don't hold on to everything that I have in my home. That I put stuff from my home in my booth. I'm sure somebody made it. And, or even my own stuff that I had, sometimes I'll keep things for a while, then put them in my booth. But what I do care about is a couple of things. Number one, she did it. She sends me like Bible study passages every single day of my life. And over the, since 2019, multiple times when she had issues with things, she would reach out to me. So when she got this booth in the mall, she didn't give me a heads up, which again, she didn't need to. But I think it would have been the right thing to do to say, hey, by the way, I got a booth. I already moved in and I'm selling a bunch of the things that you made for me. I still wouldn't have liked it. I still think it's wrong. I think it's wrong to take, bottom line, this will be in our etiquette video. Don't buy things from other vendors in your mall because their price is low and then put it in your booth for more money. Totally bad etiquette, frowned upon everywhere. I think there's rules about it many places. But what's worse is to take somebody's handmade items, move into the mall that they're in, and then sell them in your booth. Totally uncool, never okay. And but it would have gone a long way with me had she just reached out. But to this moment in time, she's never reached out. I blocked her on Facebook, or I don't know, restricted her so I don't see her messages anymore. But it looks like, you can still check. I don't think she's sending me the Bible study things anymore. But she still hasn't said, hey, I'm sorry if that bothered you or whatever. Nothing. This is a person that I could show you message after message after message of how cherished I am and blah, 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 blah. Bunch of crap. So, I would have liked to have been prepared that people were going to do stuff like this to me. I hope it doesn't happen to you. I hope if it does happen, that maybe just the knowledge that it could happen will make you stronger. I hope getting this off my chest will make me stronger. I want to thank you. You guys mean the world to me. And until next time, you guys have a great one. Get out there, finders, and do some thrifting.